Day 18 is here. Today is our secondary squat day, so we got some SSB, some front squats, some other stuff, just some general quad work. We are under 110 days out. We are officially at 109 days before the meet. So we're going to do some of this stuff, some quad work, whatever. I normally like to do a pin press. I took pin press out today. I talked yesterday in my video. My pec insertions are just like on fire, especially on my right side, from incline and guillotine prize and dumbbell flies. So I think I'm going a little too hard when it comes to direct pec work. It's working. My pecs are growing. I'm getting stronger. I feel a lot better at the bottom of my bench, but I think maybe I'm going a little too hard. So we're going to skip pin press today to kind of give ourselves a little bit of auto-regulation in a way. But we're going to do some of this stuff. We're going to do some SSB squats. We got a top set, do some back offs, and then some, honestly, just some quad work after that, and maybe some lat work. But might be a little bit more of a boring training day in a way. I feel like after a lot of your heavy stuff for week 4, the rest of this week just sucks. So let's get to it. You know, I've been talking about it for the last couple of videos, but I have been hitting the same exact weight on this SSB squat for a few weeks now. My top set has been the same. My back off sets have been the same. The RPE rises every single week. And honestly, fine. I just don't even care. It is what it is. I'd much rather this weight be exactly the same and my squat just go higher and higher and higher. So if this is what I need to be at for my squat to go up, then so be it. But we're going to do this for a set of 5. We're going to crank it out real quick, see where we're at, see how it feels, and bump the weight up maybe a little bit for the next block. Give ourselves a little bit of a challenge. But I mean, there's a part of me that, like, if this works, then it works, right? You know, honestly, something with the SSB squat that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is I don't understand why more people don't like it and why more people don't program it. But they'll die behind high bar squats. That's something in my head personally that just has never quite like made sense and clicked as why is it that an SSB squat for a lot of people they don't feel like is a good enough movement. It's not a good enough stimulus. It's not. The movement pattern's too different. It's too this, it's too that. But high bar's fine. It's one thing I don't get. Like, don't get me wrong. This is an extremely high bar position. This is not on the top of your traps. This is like on the back of your neck almost is where this weight sits. And I understand with the curve of the bar, it's going to put the weight in a different position. But like, would this not be something that exposes a wild weakness of quads? Like, I don't know. I watched a recent video. I forget the guy's name. I'm actually going to make a video myself kind of talking about some things that he brought up. He brought up a chart as well that talked about hip hinging and you know, stuff like that. Where I'm going to bring up some like RDLs and stiff legs, but I'm going to bring up some SSB, front squat, stuff like that. I'm going to go in a different direction than what he went in, but kind of in a similar path. But I don't know. I feel like the SSB is a good squat variation. I don't know why more people don't honestly program it. Especially powerlifters. I can understand as you get closer to meet, you want to be more specific. And at some point, this SSB will be taken out for a barbell. But for me, if I'm farther out from the meet, and my weakness is quads, and I need to build quads, then I need to do something of a high bar front squat nature. Now, to me, if we're going to go up in tiers, right, from low bar, and we're getting away from that low bar position in order to use more quads, and let's say we're going from low bar, and the farthest point away is front squats, because front squats, the weight is so far in front of you that you have no choice but to push your knees forward. This is exaggerated, but to push your knees forward and come straight down and come straight back up. If not, you can't. There is no bending over. There is no using more glutes and hams. There is no using lower back to go and fight it up. You're not gonna good morning squat it up. So if I want to get close to that, but I don't like the way it's loaded, and I want to get away from my low bar, I get that like having one from a low bar to like a high bar position can help. But I'm going to move that bar up like an inch off my back. So I feel like farther away from the meet, let's get more unspecific. Let's get more unspecialized in our movements, and let's just do this. Let's do something that is not going to be something that's not. It's going to be the farthest thing away from a low bar squat, with still being a very, very similar movement pattern. Now, front squat, I can argue, and I get the argument that it's too far away from one, but I honestly gotta think that like an SSB squat is, I don't know, in my head at least, a great movement for powerlifting. And just in time, like we talked about, we're going to add some weight in the next block. This was obviously super easy, but I don't want to bump weight up now because it's week 4. I've created a lot of fatigue, and I want to add the weight coming into week 1. That way I can get a good gauge on how I feel, coming out of this fatigue week and all that stuff. But SSB is looking really well. It's moving super well. I don't know. I like the movement a lot. And also, too, like, having my arms in this position for so long, having it out to do a squat, and having myself pinned back, my shoulders pinned back, this gives me a great break from that. It's going to give me a good, carryover in my squat without it being more taxing on my shoulders, more taxing on my elbows. Like, that, having this position and being cranked and being tight and all that stuff, it's hard. It beats your shoulders up. It beats your elbows up, and I don't know exactly how much truth there is to it, but Louis talked a lot about a lot of shoulder problems were not from bench. A lot of shoulder problems were from squats. So a lot of his guys squatted with their arms as wide as they could get them, like fingers on the plates pretty much, which I can kind of get behind. And I kind of do understand that thinking, and I do understand that point, that having a more narrow grip, a tighter shoulders, more stretched back in that position can really beat up your shoulder joint. I get it. So this SSB really stays, in my head, stays my shoulders, I don't know. I just know a lot of people don't like SSB squats. A lot of people get away from SSB. They want to do some high bar, which I get. I really do. But I would rather, if I had to rank things on how they're going to affect and hit my quads, front squat being the most, SSB being the second, high bar being the third, I would rather double down on SSB and front squat than to go up a little bit more on the high bar. For me, personally, if my weakness is quads, which it is. My weakness is quads, but And I like the SSB too. And I think a lot of people use it wrong. Is really what it comes down to. Because like what you really want to do is this bar is real easy. So like as you're going up with the movement, to push these handles forward, pull these handles back to you, and you can see like as I'm doing this, and it's gonna sit differently on my back. But if I pull this to me, the weight's gonna swing more back, and if I push more forward, the weight's gonna swing more forward and up. So it's really easy to get down in this bottom of this like SSB squat and just like position the bar by moving my hands, and it just makes me stronger. But we can get away from this if we set and brace on this SSB in the appropriate way, which honestly just means we get underneath the bar, we get our back nice and set and tight and where we want it to be, unrack the bar, walk it out, and then all I do is the same thing as like a deadlift would. We're down on a deadlift and we're like covering our armpits. We're squeezing our inner arm into like our sides. I do the same thing. Just grab the SSB, hold it here, and when I'm in that position where I want to be in, and I want to lock it in, then my lats get super tight, and I brace my core at the same time. So that way, I'm stuck here. That way, when I'm squatting, there is no this, because to do this, I then have to release the tension in my lats. Or to do this, I have to release the tension in my lats. I'm here, and I'm stuck. That way, it's just like down and back up, and that's it. And this never moves. And it's a lot harder if you keep the feeling in your quads and you focus on pushing my knees forward and I'm coming back up with it, instead of like trying to like fight it and like come up with like a squat more. But I don't know. I like the SSB. Honestly, I was decently skeptical from last week doing these front squats. Now, granted, I couldn't get myself in a good position until I used the vest. And by that point, I'd already done a couple sets, so I was worried about the load. So I didn't think that I could load this enough or in a good way. So I thought I would go back to the barbell. But I ain't gonna lie to you. This is perfect. This is great. I love it. I like this a lot, actually. I thought about going back next week for the block just into barbell front squats. But I think next block, I think I'm going to do a whole block of Smith machine. I really like the position it puts me in to when going, coming back up from that movement. Yes, I only having one plane to go up and down, but like I like the aspect, at least for this, to take me out of any part of bending or twisting or whatever in the front squat at all. You kind of got to do that with this. So I like that. That loaded great, loaded right in my quads, right where I want it to be. So phenomenal movement. We're going to keep it in. We're going to do the Smith machine front squat. I'm going to change it right now. Next block, and we'll run this, and we'll see. We'll see what weight we can get to by the end of this peak on front squat. Now, I do want to get my front squat back up in general. I'd like to be doing sets with like 2.5 plates of this at some point, give or take. I did do a single on front squat. I think it was last year at 315. I'd worked on my front squat in the off season in order to get my back squat up, of course. But I was hammering like triples, doubles, and singles, having a top set with back offsets and everything. And I was able to do 315 for a single, and I was super pumped about that. I thought it was super cool. So I'd like to get back to that because when I was there, I did 455 on squat. I hit it, and that's right when I failed 480. And that was at a time where I probably maybe could have hit 470, 475. I mean, I barely failed 480. So if I can get back if I can get my front squat back to that, then my quad should be back in the same spot that they were in. And if I can get my deadlift back close to where it was, then I know that my posterior chain is also where it used to be at strength-wise when I hit the 455 squat, failed 480, double 425 on squat. I took 415 one time for 6. Stuff like, so I have all these numbers in my head that I know if I can get myself back to that, or I can get myself back to being able to do back off sets with 2.5 plates between there for sets of like 6, 8, stuff like 5, stuff like that, then I know that my back squat should be where it's at without having to test my back squat all the time. So, yeah, I think we're going to keep these in. I like these a lot. I like these a ton. Oh my God. Oh. Ooh. Whew, all right, let's do it. All right, well, hey, got much today. Everything moved pretty much like it was supposed to. Nothing out of the ordinary. I don't know, pretty boring day to be honest with you. This is what I feel like most of training looks like, is these kind of boring, monotonous days where you come in, you get the work done, you need to get a certain amount of work done, you get it done, and that's it. But this is kind of still an important day though. This is still my second exposure to squat that I get through the week. Still direct quad work that I can get. I still need to focus, all that stuff. But it's something that if this day goes bad, it ain't the end of the world. If this day goes great though, it also doesn't change, should not change a lot of stuff. So, but we've learned a lot from the secondary day throughout the entire block. So what we're going to do is kind of switch some things up heading into the next block. I already got my next block kind of planned out for the most part. I'm basically going to use all of my numbers that I used for the end of the block, or like the last week of block 4. I'm going to use a lot of those numbers and what I gauge the RPs to be at, RIRs and all that stuff, to see like what weight jumps are going to be. Because like I said, I don't want to jump weight week to week to week. I don't want to jump weight from one day and then have to go back down to weight and this and that. I want to have an appropriate amount of stimulus. I want to stay there. We can do that. If we just kind of keep the weight the same and as RP and our comp lifts go up, then the RP on our secondary should also follow, because we should be more fatigued through the block because of our competition lifts. As we get maybe not stronger, but as we show our strength more, as we do harder and harder sets, then our fatigue should go higher. We should create more fatigue, which then means our secondaries, in order to hit the same, or in order to hit also an RP that climbs, our weight should relatively stay the same. Maybe there might be a day or week or this or that where like we feel a little better, like today, which surprises me that I felt pretty decent on those back off sets on SSB. But this is still something that I can look at and go, okay, going into the next block, I can change a couple things up. I could do another set, my back off sets of the SSB. I could go down in reps and add more weight. I could go up in reps and keep the same weight. It all depends on what type of stimulus I'm looking for, how much more fatigue am I looking to add to, because obviously adding a whole other set is more fatiguing. Adding another rep with the same weight, I'm personally going to argue that it's probably not any more fatiguing than it was this block, because I should be stronger going into the next block. So everything should kind of balance off there. But where my head's at is I want to be more specific going into the meet. So I'm probably going to take a rep down and add more weight on top of that in order to give myself, if anything, the same amount of fatigue, but a different stimulus, because I'm going to be using heavier weight with less reps, which means I'm going to be more specific going into my competition lift. But I don't need to be too specific yet, so we're still going to do the SSB squat. We're still going to do that, all that type of stuff. So going into the next block, like I said, I'm kind of going to go off of kind of what I just did. So we did sets of 5 on SSB. We're going to do sets of 4 on SSB. And I actually did add one more set as well on top of that. But that's just going to see, I just want to see where we're at. I want to get there first, and I really want to see, engage where we at weight-wise with doing one less rep. How much more weight are we going to do? Are we going to do a ton more weight? How are we really feeling? Because if I was keeping the reps and the sets the same, then I would go up in weight. So I need to make an appropriate jump as well for it being one less rep, and I'm being stronger in that movement as well throughout an entire block. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna put another video. It won't be a vlog though. I'll get up and do something in the morning. I'll figure something out. Probably talk for a little bit, maybe show some stuff here and there. But that's all I got today. If you guys have watched this far, I really do appreciate it. Honest to God, God bless you guys that watch my videos. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps my channel grow. Liking the video helps my channel grow a ton. It shows my video to more and more people. The more likes that it gets, commenting on the videos obviously helps a ton. So I just want to showcase what normal training is. I'm like most people, I think. At least I'm a normal dad. I have a wife. I have 3 kids. I have a job, and then I have to get up before work to do this. I have a garage gym. It's a normal garage gym in my head. So I just want to showcase what real training, normal training looks like for a lot of people. I don't do this full time. I don't have any sponsorships. It's something that I just want to do as a hobby. So I have to make time for it, sacrifice for it, but also at the same time, I still have other priorities that I have to prioritize before this. So how do I fit training into all that, for one, but for 2, how do I still become the best lifter that I can? Given that I still need to take responsibilities, or I still need to do, there's a bird right there. The other side of my garage. Cool. But I still need to take care of what I need to take care of. I still need to take care of my kids, my wife, my job first. So I need to fit this in after all that. But still, how can I be the best lifter I can be with given the circumstances that I'm given, the time that I'm given, the time that I'm allowed to work out, or that I've allotted for myself really to work out. Because I still need to sleep. I still need to take care of everything else. I still need to spend time with everybody. So I'm just trying to be the absolute best lifter I can be, lifting 5 days a week for about an hour and 15 minutes total for the workout, and not being able to come in here and take 20 minutes between sets. So that's pretty much all I got for today. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Again, if you guys have watched this far, God bless you guys. Hopefully I see you in the next video. If not, if you want to watch some more, I got a ton of videos on my vlogs. I got a couple other videos I've posted so far, just about general, powerlifting, strength training stuff. So check my stuff out. Really do appreciate it. So that's pretty much it. It's going to cut off. We don't have an outro on here, so the video just kind of ends, and that's it.